Okay, so in the last to last class, we had discussed about the structure of how the World Wide Web works, especially when it comes to hosting a website on a remote server and connecting it with a domain which can be accessed by public via browsers and various devices. So we had broken down how the website can be deployed and what are the integral aspects of the same. So and then followed by we have narrowed upon that we will utilize a content management system. In our case it is going to be WordPress, and we understood the difference between .com, .org, understood what are managed website WordPress websites, and then from hosting dedicated server, shared and managed WordPress hosting, we have decided that day that we will go with shared hosting. It doesn't matter whatever plan you decide. What I am going to show you from here onwards will be not relevant for will be basically not dependent on whether it is a dedicated thing or a shared or a managed WordPress. The interface and the functionality is going to be the same. Okay, so you have those who have missed the last class, things were covered where I showed how to deploy WordPress on a shared hosting. I also created a subdomain. I own this domain avriti.com. So I had created a subdomain rs.avriti.com. Okay, and on which I have deployed my WordPress. All right, now we are ready to move. So this is, consider this the website will be editing. Couple of more things we had done was to install a few plugins. So I'm going to the backend of it, and in order to go to the WordPress's backend, you'll have to type the name of the domain followed by a forward slash and then type in wp hyphen login, and my credentials are stored in this computer. All I have to say is login, and I'll be able to see my backend. This is how it looks like, and I'll just quickly introduce you those who have missed the last class because we'll be spending a lot of time here. The WordPress backend is very simple. On the left hand side we have list of options, or you could say list of tools also, whichever is the preferred term you want to use. Go ahead with that, not an issue. There at the top you have a bar. On the far right hand side, extreme right hand side, top right corner, you will see this profile where you have option of editing the profile, logging out, and you could set up your image also. Then here in the dashboard, when you install it, you will get few windows which I don't use, or depending upon the plugin you have installed, you might get these more options. Like Elementor I have installed here, which is a page builder which will help us in constructing our web pages. Okay, Elementor is one of the page builders. It's very famous. There are some other ones also, like DV is another page builder which is very famous. Okay, so what page builders allow you to do is edit your web pages very much like the way you do it on Wix, right? Or Webflow. But Elementor is more intuitive. uh, Wix and Elementor, you could say, is very similar, but Elementor is more powerful because Wix also allows you to manage dynamic content, but it doesn't give you such in-depth power of managing your whole content. And since Elementor works on top of WordPress, which is already a very advanced content management system, uh, it is more preferred and useful. Okay, so you can simply install it by going to the plugins, and there you will find that I have installed Elementor. In case you want to install it, you just have to click on add new and go find out Elementor and install it. The free version will do just good for us, though no problem is there. So here in the plugin sections, we will be installing more plugins when we need that, and I'll tell you the significance of each and every plugin also if you are interested. But this goes out of the scope and this goes on record. This is not within the scope of your subject. The scope of the subject is only limited to you to be able to enable you to design the interfaces. That's it, right? And also to design it in just prototype stage. But I want you to see how it is actually designed on web. Okay, and we'll be creating actual web pages, hmm? Which is functional, which is active, which right now you can open in your phone and then interact with it, which is connected with a database in the backend, right? So I have installed Elementor as a plugin, and in the appearance you will find themes. I have also installed one theme which is Generate Press. Generate Press essentially is a very lightweight and vanilla kind of theme which has not much done on top of it, but provides a very clear basic structure on which we can build. Anyway, we are not going to rely much upon theme for creating the pages because we'll be doing it from scratch with the help of Elementor, right? So there are two things which we have to be aware of. WordPress has two things which can show content on the web page, on the in the inside the browser. First is pages, second is posts, right? So pages are like web pages, and on those web pages we can feature the posts. So posts, you must have gone through a lot of blogs where you see that articles are listed. So imagine those articles as blogs. If you click on the link, it opens itself in a separate page or on the same page, but you see it expanding as a separate entity, right? So those are the blogs which are dynamically generated. There are also some cases where you type in something in the search bar and then it gives you the result, fetches out that information from the entire database and results as a page. So those pages were never, they don't exist. They are created once the user is making a query. Okay, those are not static pages. We have not designed them. We just defined an area where all the results are going to come. Okay, and because the information is saved in the database, WordPress allows you to fetch it and then display it on your desired places. Okay, so here at the top you will see posts. Essentially WordPress is a blog management software, but the functionality is also extended to create like fully functional websites also, and all type of websites. With the help of plugins like WooCommerce, you can also create a e-commerce website by using WordPress. Here we have posts. If you click on that, you will see all posts, add new, categories and tags. We will learn about categories and tags also in a while. So but categories is something which basically, think of a kitchen. In the kitchen, if you want to organize the content nicely, then you can dedicate areas where the grains are gonna go, where the oil you are going to keep, where the spices are going to be kept, right? So you can make spaces for all them, and then you can just put a label there, that, or maybe a mental note. Okay, this is the space where all the spices go. So it is easier to find out stuff in there. So think of your website and your server like a kitchen where you are storing space, but storing it so well that if somebody comes from outside, they can easily access the content, right? You don't mix grains with pulses, right? So if you have five variety of rice in your kitchen, like two, three variety or five variety of pulses, you don't mix them, right? You don't keep them at one place. Okay, but you can also make a category where, let's say that a bigger category, which is whole foods, under which all the type of grains and pulses are gonna come, right? You can also make a more superlative category, and then segregate the liquid items with the solid items, right? Those kind of categorizations can be done, isn't it? I can go outside and then call everybody who belongs to this class by saying PG2, communication design. That's a bigger category, larger category. I can go and then call up people also outside whose name starts from a certain alphabet and who belongs to this class. So this categorization helps us in fetching data from a database. Okay. And on the websites, what is displayed? Data only in the form of information. So posts are very useful and pages are also very, very useful. And these are the things through which we publish the data. We publish the data online. Okay. So here I have just one single post. Let me just click on view and then show you. This is the post I have. Hello world. This comes as default when you install the WordPress, and it also has a sample comment on it, and there is a comment which you can, area where you can leave your comment. The structure of a typical WordPress blog has a header, a main area like body, this is known as body, and this is known as sidebar. You can have a 2 column or a 3 column layout. In a 3 column layout, you will have sidebar on either of the sides, and in the center you will have body. The body will have content. It can be the page, it can have multiple blog posts, or a variety of type of media elements can also be uh, put in the body. Okay, on the right hand side, these small boxes you see are known as widgets. So every widget is different and it will have a specific purpose. Like you can see here, the first widget is about the search. Okay, then the second widget is about the recent posts, and all these are fetching information dynamically. This is connected with the database, right? And it is only going to show you the recent posts, and we will have the option of choosing how many from the recent posts. Since we have just one single post, it is only featuring one single post, hello world, and if somebody clicks on it, it will take them to this particular post. Then we have recent comment. We have just one comment and it is listed under recent comment. I'll go back. Then let's go to the pages. We also have a couple of pages, and if you hover on top of it, it will show its status to you. Here this one is published already, but this one says draft. That means we have created it. In fact, a privacy policy page is automatically created when you install WordPress. By default you get it, and a sample page also is getting gets created, which we have deleted, and we have created our own page, home page, and we have started editing that with Elementor also. Let's view this page, and this time I'm going to hold control and click on the view because I don't want to lose this tab. I want to open it in a separate tab. So this is what we created in the last class. Okay, now let's go to the Figma and look at the layout we are trying to achieve. While it loads up, before we start building things here, let me show you how the interface looks like. You have to click on edit with Elementor if you are doing it the second time. For the first time, the method is different. When we create a different page, I'll show you how to link it with link it for editing with Elementor. So for now, because we have already linked it in the last class with Elementor, I'm just gonna click on edit with Elementor.
So Elementor provides us with templates of layouts.
No, it provides, it's like a software which runs on internet, on web. Okay, and it gives you few options to just simply drag and drop, and then you can edit it. Okay, so I'm gonna just close, remove this one and start fresh, right? So this is the page we created, and when you create the page you will get to see this. The title will show up, and this is how it's gonna look in your computers when you start with Elementor. Because the theme is generate trace, the moment you create the page it will acquire the structure of that particular theme, and the structure has a header, a body, a footer at the bottom, and a side, right? But we don't want to go with this, right? We can go with this also, we can still drag our things here and then build the whole page, but I'm not ready to go with this structure. I don't like to go with this structure. I have my own design which I have created, right? This is my wireframe, this is the structure I want to go ahead with. Okay, now if I hover on top of it, it says 4040 by 500. Now last time what we did, we just randomly, because the time was less, we just downloaded something and then posted it. But now, since we are doing it nicely, I would rather create these placeholders first. So let's see what kind of placeholders we want. First placeholder is this, which is 1440 by 500, and then we have these squares where the pictures are gonna go. So one is to one aspect ratio, so we can go for about, I think, 450 by 450, or 1000 by 1000 also, because WordPress is automatically going to resize those images for us. So here on Photoshop, I'm gonna open a new file, and instead of going for 1440, see, I can go with that aspect ratio also, but ideally I want the entire thing to stretch across the screen, right? So I would rather go with 1920 by, let's say, 500 with a resolution of 72, which is fine. This is just a placeholder. Oh, this is too big, I think. So Alt Control I, and I'll change it to 700. And if I do it like this, it also changes the width. So I'll just break the link first, then come here and then say 700 and then say okay. This is fine. Now here I'm just gonna type placeholder, or make some, you can download these kind of images from internet also, but I'll just let's just type placeholder. uh, and you can use actual images for this also. This is 1920 by 700, just so that we remember it. And I'm going to increase the size. Also, since it's a placeholder, I would want to fill a solid color on it. So I'm gonna go and then create a layer, pull this text on top of it, select the layer, and then fill it with a solid color. A neutral gray color would work. So Alt backspace, and this is my placeholder. Just, I don't know why I'm doing this, but this would look more like a placeholder. So now I can save this, Control Shift S, save it on my computer. Uh, Save it there, that's fine. And I wish to import this as a JPG image. I'll go for medium quality. I don't want the file size to be humongous, right? It has nothing anyway in it. And I'm going to save this in the same directory. I can just keep it here, save. That's it. Now let's go back to Elementor, and we will start pulling up things here and then building our page. So if you want to see the preview how the page is coming up, you will click on this icon here and you'll be able to see how the page is looking like. Okay, so first thing first, I want to get rid of the sidebar and this title also. I want a clean slate to begin with. I just want the header to be there, that is fine, but the rest of the things I don't want. So I'm gonna go to the settings and then here where it says hide title, enable that. So title is gone now, and below that we have a page layout option where the default setting is enabled. We have to switch it to Elementor full width, and the moment you choose it, the sidebar will go away, and if you collapse it, just the header and just the footer will be visible. Someday else I'll cover how to work with the header and footer. There is a separate plugin for that. Elementor allows you to edit the header and footer in the paid version of it, but there is a way around it also. I'll teach you that also. I'll update. Now if you see this page, right, my blog, and this is the home page. Let's check it in a different in an incognito browser, or let's check it here only. So if I click on home right now, just the header and just the footer is showing up. There is nothing in between. This ribbon will come because we are in the editing mode. We can hide that in the settings, but I'll just let it be here. Now first thing first, we want that place, right, and we want that slider to keep on moving and changing images. We can place the slider by looking here at the top. At the left hand side we have basic. These are the tools. Basically, if you go for the paid version, you will have access to these pro tools also, but for the general tools also, it is fine to create a decent website. So I'm gonna go for image carousel and then drag it here, and here let's understand the whole.
This is a header.
Yeah, this is no header is this. The top part is the header. Below that we have a slider. This is our header. Below that we have a slider, and then we have sections. This is a section which has slider. Okay, so in this we need to first understand the structure of it, and to make you understand the structure, I'll pull out the navigator. This is the navigator which lists down everything which is there on the page, which got created by using Elementor. So we have a section. This is the section. This whole thing is a section where we have a plus option to add another section. We have this handle which allows us to click, select it, move it, or bring out this added section settings. Then we have a close button which deletes the section. So we have how many sections here in this page? One. And inside that section we have a column. The section is the horizontal division and the column is the vertical division. So we can have more than one columns also. For this we need the entire column to be stretched from left to the extreme right. So we have a column within which we have which tool? Image carousel. So a section has to have at least one column in it. Without the column we cannot fill data. Okay. And here the data which we are filling is in the form of an image carousel. Now in the image carousel, we can click on this plus sign here on the left hand side. See, what you have selected here will give you contextual settings on the left hand side. So if column is selected, column settings are going to be visible. If section is selected, section settings are going to be visible. Okay. Now in the settings, you will see always three tabs. First is layout, which decides the structure of it. Then the style, which decides the visual, how it is going to look. And the third one is about the advanced settings, the padding, margin, all those things. Now you would understand these settings better if you would have done some little bit of web designing, a little bit of coding, right? But As we progress, I will show you how to use those options also. You don't have to code, you will just have to numerically type values. Okay. So what is margin, what is padding? These two couple of basic things definitely we will have a look at. This navigator can be closed and brought back by just clicking here. And right now I'm concerned with the image carousel. So I'll go to the image carousel, and on the left hand side we can see the settings related to the image carousel. The first section is, first tab is about content. So image carousel, and then there are many options, right? So first thing first, the image I have created, I'll pull this from my computer by going to upload. Last time we had just downloaded these couple of images, and those were not in the aspect ratio we wanted, so we had created our own. I'm gonna go to the data tab, and this is what we have created. I'll say open, wait for it to open, and then say create a new gallery. Because it's an image carousel, it would create a new gallery, so I could add more than one images also. Okay, so let's quickly go to the Photoshop, and since we are here, why not let more, add more, like I'll simply just change the color of it and save it as again in the same place and say untitled 2. Okay, and I'll quickly make one more variation of bit just by changing the color and say control alt shift S to bring up this save for web dialog box. Save it, and we will call it 3.
Same color.
Yeah, I changed the color, na?
Nice.
Did not? Acha, I did not say alt backspace to fill the color. Okay, and then I'm going to save this. I don't know why the directory got changed this time, but yes. So we have 3 images now. So I'm gonna go back and then pull out those images also by going to upload files, select files, and I can do multiple selections here and then bring more than one images in my gallery as well. Now all 3 of them are selected. Notice this tick box. I can create a new gallery. Now this gallery, we can give it a name. We can reverse the order of the images if I want. Okay, and I can write caption for all these images also, and those captions can be brought on the screen also.
When you hover over the picture, it will come up.
That depends how do you want to bring it, after hovering, or just let it be there, or you want to hide. Okay. Those things can be done. I'll choose insert gallery. अभी ध्यान मत देना और बाद में बोलना मेरे को समझ में नहीं आया, क्योंकि टॉपिक बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स था. So when I import all 3 of the images, this is looking not like what we want, right? Why?
क्योंकि image size thumbnail है.
Very good. So image size needs to be changed to full, and if you change full, then again there is a problem. You know why? Because here in the slides to show, it says default, and the default value is 3. So I would go with 1, and then it shows up correct. Let me just close this and hide this thing, but still there is some issue. I want it to be stressed all along, right? Yeah, I want it to cover the entire space. So the space is in relation with what? The column, right? So let's pull out the navigator and then see if by changing the column setting can we make a difference. Here the column width is set to percent. If there is no value set here, that means it is automatically gonna stretch to the entire length of it. So by changing the layout of the column, we will not be able to force it to acquire the entire horizontal space. So let's switch to the section. And here it says the content width is boxed. So boxed essentially means that there is a main frame, not the mainframe computer. The main, we call it container in our language, in the web language. So there is a container within which all the content are going to be placed, and you can see that how this is exactly matching up with this, matching up with this. So this is dictated by what? The theme itself. In order to change those things, we'll have to edit the theme, and there is a way also, and there is an editor also which is there in WordPress, which allows us to edit the theme. But we are not going to touch that. We will do everything from here itself. We are just going to use WordPress's structure and the generosity of GeneratePress, right? Because it is offering us things for free, and we will use Elementor. So just change the boxed to full width, and that's it. Okay. Is it acquiring the entire space? No, because one more setting we'll have to do, which is stretch the section. If you stretch the section, then you will get what you want. Okay. But still there are some problems. We are not happy with it. These borders. So these are some HTML or code related issues which we will sort out later on. This is not a problem. This is actually a good thing. We can also look for some settings here, and there must be some setting which we can tweak up, and it will just work out. But these can be done with custom codes better. In the style, we have the background. We have already the carousel in it, so the background wouldn't matter. If I change the background, nothing will be visible. Then we have an advanced tab where we have margin and padding and all those things, right? What if I set the padding to 0? I think that will override. No, that won't override. So let me just delete it. We will fix that separately. Let's quickly check the column. No, we don't have anything here also. And in the image carousel, do we have anything? Image stretch, it says no. I'll say yes. And additional options. These options are for the animation, like autoplay speed. The 5000 is in milliseconds, by the way. So if I change it to 3000, it will start happening faster. Okay. If you want it faster, reduce the time. If you want it slower, the transition, you can increase. And then you have infinite loop. What kind of effect do you want? Do you want it to slide? Do you want it to fade? See, if you choose fade, it will fade. Okay. I'll just keep it to slide. Then animation speed, direction. Do you want it from left to right or right to left? Now all of these are essentially writing JavaScript codes. You can either go and edit the code yourself if you want, or you can just do things from here. Now technologies like lazy load, what it is. These things, when you do these exercises, then you should ask me questions that what is a lazy load, and then I'll answer you what is lazy load.
What is lazy load?
I will not answer it right now. Okay. So we have started creating our interface, and we successfully did this. The next thing is the section, and here we have who we are.
So can we put pictures from
Yes, you can put
the
pictures.
website one of
No, you guys will do that. Okay.
आपने WordPress का ID पासवर्ड
See, told you.
सर वो थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट है मतलब फर्स्ट टाइम है तो समझ में आना डिफिकल्ट है.
So last class, देखो, I can take you till this point, but you'll have to have a domain, right?
हमें पहले सब डोमेन बनाना पड़े.
Hence I asked you that will you
So-
be lending us yours or something like that. That's
I
why
cannot lend you my domain, na, because it has many. I showed you, na, so many.
What? That was
So
the question.
that is why I was telling all of you to get a domain, get one domain each, and then share a space, buy a space. I can configure the space for you. That is what I can do,
Fair enough.
right? And then you can actually make your own websites, your portfolio website. Okay. So let me add just quickly few
Sir,
more
we
things
don't
here.
have the time for portfolio websites. We don't have the time left for portfolio websites.
Okay, fine.
With the semester, it will get hectic. So, like instead of
This is your only semester. This is a good chance to learn how to make a portfolio site.
no, I'm not saying
So-
no to learning, but then we generally don't have we don't have time.
Whichever way you want to go, that is fine. I'll teach you anyway.
like
Right?
fine.
इसकी जगह जो अपन
अपना
UX
website बना लो. Yeah.
टाइल्स वाला अभी तो घर जाके when you want to practice this.
You'll have to put up all the work and set everything, and उसमें भी finalize portfolio का, हर चीज का finalize करना. You cannot give जो तुमने college में assignments दिए हैं.
You know, there is a problem. The problem is here students tell me what to do. That is a big problem. Usually it is the other way around. We tell the students what to do, and they do it, and they learn many things while doing it. So you saying after coming to the college that I don't have time, I don't understand this concept, because your sole purpose to come to the college is to learn, right?
How
And you are
about
engaged with so
assignments?
many things. Yeah.
How about assignments? We have three consecutive
So do the
research papers
assignments.
going on.
Yeah, this is how it works. It's not easy. It's not easy. Utilize your time well. What else do you expect in PG?
Didn't you said yourself this first or second week that you came that I would myself prefer one module going on for 1 month
I
or
see,
something,
but
because
that
that
is
I
not the
feel.
luxury we have, na? So whatever we have to put up with that only, right?
No, you
Right now you tell
started
me.
blaming us. Hence, I was trying to help you understand as well
Arey,
that
it's not
this is
about
a problem.
blaming. I'm on your side. You don't understand this yet. I'm not blaming you. I'm telling you the truth. I'm offering you. You think it is rude, it is rude. But this is what it is. This is how you'll be treated in industry. In fact, rougher. You tell your boss that I don't have time to do this, and see what he will do next day. Why do you expect the industry to be forgiving? And how much time do you have before you go to the industry? You tell me. How much time do you have? 3 months, 4 months. That's it. Prepare, do. There is no other option. This is fact check, reality. This is how people get trained. Competition is. I don't want to scare you guys, but this is what it is, yeah. Come on. Later on, you will thank me for this, that I gave you a reality check in the due course of time. This is fact. So be ready for that. And at least in initial 2-3 years now, forget about everything. You have to prove yourself. After a certain time, when you reach at a position where people need you, you don't need them. Then you can say, I don't have time for this. Then you can be picky and choosy about the projects. We reject projects even now. Like there was a time when anything which used to come, we were like, just give it. We'll learn something from it. We will learn at your cost. Here you are paying money, I am teaching something, and you are like, we don't have time to learn. Very good, yeah.
Never said no to
So
learning.
make a portfolio then. Make a portfolio. Wouldn't it be a good idea to have your own portfolio? Yeah? Tell me.
No.
And the technical help you need, I am there. Whichever help you need, all 5 days I am here. Did I ever say no to you guys? So push yourself. You have done all the projects already, right? You have all the projects. Assignments you'll also submit. It's just a matter of putting them here, documenting it. That's it. And right now you will learn something good. Even if you start doing freelancing after 6 months, you make one website, you learn 50-60,000 rupees easily. Yeah. This is a skill set which people, you know, are willing to pay for to learn.
So we can like do the freelance work
Yes,
through WordPress.
yes,
Okay.
you can make websites also, and slowly you will get better at it. I just want to give you so much that you can start. And let's say 5 months down the line, 6 months down the line, if you are stuck somewhere, you call me and then you'll be able to understand what I'm saying. 2 years down the line, if you're stuck at some point, you will call me and then whatever I'll say, you'll be able to understand.
it's
Getting my point?
initially it's like
That is the
much happening
purpose.
to
That is
just
the
don't
purpose
know
of this
anything about it.
whole thing. Passing on the vocabulary, making you understand the systems. So that if you're stuck at any point, say this round, the corner I want to round up, it's not how to do it. Then I can guide you. And the relation continues in the design field at least. I'll tell you, 2014 में जो पास आउट हुए थे, they also call. ये ऐसा नहीं है कि 2 महीने बाद ऐसे खत्म. If you want it like that, it's not a very transactional affair. Right? टीचर फैकल्टी का जो रिलेशन रहता है, अभी वी आल्सो समटाइम्स कॉल आवर प्रोफेसर्स. कितने साल हो गए? 15 साल हो गए. और अब हम उनसे क्वेश्चंस नहीं पूछते, उनसे लाइफ के बारे में पूछते हैं. एंड दे हेल्प अस. ठीक है. सो कभी डरो मत इस चीज से कि मेरे से होगा नहीं, नहीं होगा, बहुत काम है. काम है तो ज्यादा करो, मत सो. फिनिश योर वर्क, डू इट. दिस इज द ओनली वे. All right. So we have done one section. This section was relatively very easy because we just inserted one widget into it. We can call these widgets also. Now to go back to the place where we had all the tools available, we will have to click on this icon here, and that will get me back to all the tools. So we will be having access to the basic one and the general one. Okay? And that is sufficient enough for us to build a page like this. The second section is who we are, and it's also a very simple section. So to create that section, all I have to do is pull this heading first and then followed by a text editor. These two things we will have to put. But before I go for that, let me just look at the structure here. It's one simple box with a solid color filled into it, and a paragraph and a heading is going to be there, right? That's all. Let me just pull out the heading first and go back and then pull out the text editor, and I'm going to push it below the heading. When you drag any of the elements, these are called elements, Elementor. So you could call it elements of Elementor. So the section already got created. The moment you pulled in an element, the section got created automatically. There is another way of creating a blank section, and that can be done by clicking on this plus sign, and it tells you to select your structure. So if I would have gone this way, I would have gone for the first one because we want just the rectangle there, and inside we want two different elements. One is heading, another is your paragraph. Now this one, let's pull out the navigator again and see we have two sections now. Correct? The bottom section has a column into it. Column is mandatory, one single column, and the column has how many elements? Two elements which are stacked vertically on top of each other. If I want to stack things horizontally, we will have to make multiple columns.
This is horizontal.
No, this is horizontally. This is vertically stacked, right?
एक के नीचे वर्टिकली
Vertically ऐसे ऊपर नहीं, horizontally side by side.
हाँ
हाँ ठीक. ठीक है. अच्छा अभी देखो यहाँ पे if I go to the preview mode, this is what it looks like. So first thing first, I want to center it. Forget about the color of the font and the size and the thickness. We will control that, aram se. All right. Now let's close this one. Select the whole section. You can do it without the navigator also, and for that you just need to hover on top of it. Find the cues. For example, if I need to select the section, I'll have to go and click on this. Select the column, we'll have to go and click this. If I want to target the element, I'll have to click on this. So without the navigator also, you can easily access it. The first thing I see here is I need to center align these two things. So I'm gonna click on this and then come here, and here I have the alignment settings. I'll just click on center. Similarly, I'll go for this one, and here I do not have any option of aligning it, right? So I'll go to the style, and there we will find alignment and click on this. So both of them are centered.
I'm sorry, I could not see the place where we can change the font. Is there a place?
There is a lot of places here. Typography, you click on that and you have a lot of options
Okay.
to play around with.
So, sir, if we like, we can use the installed fonts we
No,
have in our.
you should not. You can, but you should not. There is a method how you can use the installed fonts.
Okay.
You should always use web fonts.
Okay.
Web fonts which are already deployed in web, preferably Google web fonts.
But
There
if
are other
certain
repository.
website.
There are methods. Right now our focus is to get the structure correct. So I'm not focusing more on styling.
No, I
The
understand.
structure when it gets correct, then we will style elements also. Okay. And maybe if you are interested, I'll show you how style can be coded first. Okay. And then what if I change the type here, what is actually happening in the code? Understanding that is more important.
So, but what happens if we like use the installed font?
See, your computer has the font installed. If I open it in my mobile phone may not have that font installed. In that case, it will break. So the safe way is when we define the font, right? So we write the code in such a way that it has a that is called fallback. So I explicitly define a particular font which is installed in my system, expecting that the user will also have the same font installed, right? Or now the technology has improved. I can actually store that font on the server also. But in that case, it will take a lot of time to fetch it from you. So in that case, we can use cookies, which fetches the font and installs it in the stores it in the local computer.
Is that what cookies is?
Yeah,
Exactly.
that is
Can
what
we
cookies
accept
is.
all cookies?
Yeah, so you are accepting that the website will store some of the files in your local computer. That is what is accepting cookies is.
Great. Okay.
Okay. So that is another method. And the best method is, because you'll be accessing the website online, why don't you use online repositories of font which are free to use? Right. But in case that case you are limited to a few number of. So when we type the code while defining the font family, we have to prioritize. We go for first the installed fonts on the server. Let's say that if it is taking time or something has gone wrong, it will fall back to the next available set of font families, and there we will pull something from the internet which are similar in look. If that is also not available, then we go for the whole family. Let's say that we define it like Arial, Helvetica, Sans Serif. Arial, Helvetica, Roboto, Sans Serif, comma. So it needs to find out first Arial. If it is a Windows system, they will get Arial. If it is a Mac system, they will get Helvetica. Let's say that if it is not both, it is Linux, then it will try to fetch Roboto from internet. Let's say something went wrong horribly there also. Then it will fall back to the sans serif font, whichever is closest to the Arial. Because sans serif is a family, right? That is we defined it. Now let me show the preview. This is how it looks, looking nice, but we need it to be inside a bigger box.
Yes.
Let's see how we can do that. So I'm going to select the section, and in this section there is something called width, which is boxed. We have already dealt with it, so I want to go for a full width. Okay, and the height here is set to default. So default means it will automatically attain the height of the content inside it. So I keep on adding the content, it will keep on increasing its height. But here I want a fixed height. It needs to look like a box. So I'm gonna click here and then choose minimum height or fit to screen are two options I have here. So let's go for minimum height. That means I can explicitly define how many pixels it is going to acquire. Minimum height is going to be this much. Now the question must be arising in your head, sir, minimum height. So how the height will, what will be the maximum height? That will be dependent on the device. It will never go below 400 pixels. But depending upon the device, if I see it on mobile device or somewhere else, the height might grow. Okay, why it will grow? Because what happens if I pull more content and fill inside it?
It will like narrow in the
It
floor.
will grow. So maximum height will depend on the content filled inside it, but the minimum height cannot go below 400.
So can we insert a picture like behind this? इसी section में
Yes, a
कि
video
जैसे
also,
placeholder करा था
a
वैसे.
video also, a picture also, a pattern, a gradient, anything.
Okay.
Okay, ठीक है. We'll come to styling when we come to styling. We are structuring things, right? Focus on the structure, get the structure correct. Now we need to fill a color into it. Since we said we'll have to fill color into it. Let's look at the preview first. This is looking nice so far, no problem. But what if I want to fill a color into it? We will go to style, and there we have background section and we have types. And in the type we have classic, which will fill a solid color. We have a gradient, we have a video, and we have a slideshow also, which will run behind it. By the way, that slideshow can also have a video inside. So content wise, we have a lot of options. I'm gonna go with a solid color. Click on this and pick a normal solid color, or maybe let's change it, solid gray color. All right, now let's expand it. The same problem is there. So I'm gonna go to the layout and do what?
Full.
Stretch. You forgot. And in this case, while stretching, it is going to the extreme ends, which is looking nice. So for this, we will fix it later on. Okay?
Is it because of the image?
It may be because
Yes.
of the image,
Okay.
right? But right now, let's not break our head with that.
So next we have sliders. Category.
No, I don't think it is because of the image. It is because of something else, and we will deal with that later on. Right now, not a problem. Section, color, position, inside, outside, image. Okay. Now, once you are done with your changes, you'll have to update it to see it in the real page. Let's quickly go back. This is the page, and this is what we have done so far. You have added a placeholder.
Why can't we see the slider sign and everything?
Yeah, wait. I think something is wrong. Let me just refresh it.
कौन सा अच्छा जॉब लेके आ रही है?
Okay, now there is a problem. See,
देखना
this is coming here.
फिर स्लाइडर नीचे आ रहा है.
हाँ. So, oh, अभी ठीक हो गया. Sometime because of the internet, na, it is behaving weird. All right. So it's a good idea to check in both the places, in a web page also. And ideally, you should be not checking here, but in an incognito window. That ribbon will not be shown there in that case. So you can look at a neat and clean layout.
नहीं
So
थोड़ा
ये क्या
टाइम
होगा?
लग रहा है लोड होने में वेबसाइट.
ये something with the JavaScript loading. I think it's taking some time.
क्या ये वेबसाइट हैवी होने से भी होता है पर हमने तो कुछ डाला ही नहीं है.
JavaScript लोड होने में टाइम लग रहा है. इंटरनेट भी यहाँ का वैसा ही होगा ना कुछ प्रॉब्लम. बट these are like small issues which can be fixed, not a problem. Don't focus on that right now. I'll have to see. Wait. यहाँ पे तो सही आ रहा है. Let's see. लो अभी हो गया ठीक. ठीक है, let's go back to Figma, and now the next thing is creating this block, right? And we can do it very easily by clicking here and selecting a 3-column structure. and we need this uh, square image also. So let's go on Google and find out a square placeholder, and let's go with this one. Dark one, no,
थोड़ा
light.
कलर डाल ये सब ग्रेडियंट वाला अच्छा है वही तो
यही वाला करेंगे, ठीक है, ये वाला ठीक है,
पूरा ही ट्राई कर दो
ठीक है, very good, beautiful. Now in this we will go back to Elementor main menu, and there we can directly pull in the image, but then I realized that it has some text also written on top. ठीक है, तो अभी स्टाइलिंग पे फोकस नहीं करते हैं हम,
तीन ब्लॉक वाला
क्योंकि इसके लिए ना थोड़ा कस्टम कोडिंग करना पड़ेगा। मैं तुम्हें आगे बताऊंगा कैसे करते हैं, या तो पेड वर्जन खरीदना।
सर आपने जो पिक्चर्स अपलोड की थी उसके नीचे जो कैप्शन वाला ऑप्शन था उसको इसमें यूज नहीं कर सकते
कर सकते हैं, उसको भी कर सकते हैं।
बट इसके ऊपर आएगा क्या?
हाँ सर ने बोला था वो अलग से भी आ जाएगा डिपेंड ऑन
देखो बिल्ड करने के लिए कर सकते हैं, लेकिन
नहीं करेंगे
अभी नहीं करेंगे। देखो हम क्या करेंगे, इसको ना यहाँ पे कॉलम के अंदर, ये जो कॉलम्स हैं उसके अंदर हम इसको कंस्ट्रक्ट करने के बहुत सारे तरीके। either we can use something called image box which is there in the tool. You can use that one also, and in the image box you have an option, you can style it, and then but you'll have to write some code. Okay. Another option is that you assign the column a background, let the image be the background, and on top you introduce a text box. Works well for us, right? So we'll do that. And there are more options also, but this one is fine. So we have a 3 column here. Let me just quickly stretch it. Sorry, stretch it, I'm saying. First we will go to this column here, column settings, go to the style. In the background we want an image, so we'll click on classic. Classic has two options, either a color or an image. So click on image, go to the upload media, select, find out that image you have selected, say open, wait for it, say insert media. It will not show the full thing because it is added as a background. That means we'll have to define the height for it, right? Let's go to the highlight. So highlight, I'm saying layout, and we don't have any option to show the height of it, and that's a problem, right? We don't have any option. Using image as a background has this problem. Okay, so we can pull out a heading element, and we know that it will acquire the space of the content, and we will also because this is a let me just say construction blocks, so we'll write construction blocks here, and we can change the HTML tag from h2 to h4 to make it smaller, or even h5 if that is required, and we will center it out. We will style this later on, but right now I want to give it more space and make it squares. Now there are some problems with it also. One thing, I can go to the section and define a vertical height by setting a minimum height, but in this case also you will see that it's not growing and acquiring the space, it is not going to grow. So let me set it back to default. I can select this particular element and then go to the advanced tab and add padding. Padding is the area around the element. So I can break the link first, and at the top I can add a padding value of 150, and at the bottom also I can add 150. This is what we can do. But then I realized that the image is actually getting resized, like it's a huge image and we need to fit in this image within that. Okay, so in that case क्या हुआ?
तो ये ऊपर वाले एलिमेंट में
से गैप कैसे करेंगे?
बता दूंगा. So you will select this column. ठीक है. And let's go to the style. Here under the background where we have uploaded the image, there is something called position. So I'm gonna click on this and choose bottom. Sorry, center कहीं दिख रहा है? Center. That brings it in the center. And for the size also, I can choose either default or cover will cover the entire space. ठीक है, which works good for me, no problem. Or contain or custom, and here custom I can define the size myself. ठीक है, I can make a repeat of it also if I want. I'll just go with the auto size here because this looks good. Now I'm going to right click, delete this column, and as I delete it, you see the column we are left with only one column. So I'm going to right click on it and then choose duplicate. Now when I duplicate, the problem here is no, it's getting duplicated vertically because I duplicated the content, not the entire column. If remember this, if you duplicate the content, it will come vertically. Okay. The structure will always push it down. If you duplicate the column, then it will come horizontally. Okay. And you can also add space in between by going to the column settings. So let me just say Control Z couple of times. Control Z works here also. So you click on the column, go to the advanced section, and you add margin. You add margin of, let's say, 10 pixels everywhere, 10 pixels, and then you right click on it and choose duplicate. So you will have space in between of 20 pixel there, and you have added space at the top also. But you can add more space if you want by selecting the section, going to the advanced tab, and you can add a margin of, let's say, 100 pixels and update. Now if you expand it, we'll have this. ठीक है.
सर 20 सेशन का टाइम
जाओ सेशन करो. ओके, थैंक यू, बाय बाय.